I'm Kevin Klein, City Councillor for Charleswood, Tuxedo, Westwood. This office has constantly been criticizing the fact that some members of council do not get information required to do their job to the best of their ability. I am one of those councillors. On April 30th, we received an email in error, we have since found out, that apparently went to a plethora of people here at City Hall, and it was called the Daily Media Briefing. This email was an excellent first step. In this email, we were alerted to all the questions the media were asking, issues that we were not aware the city was dealing with. There was a question from one media representative asking for a week-by-week comparison of transit ridership, and received their response that day, which is shocking because over a month ago, I have requested of the CAO, of the mayor, of the chair of IRPW, everybody, for a week-by-week comparison of the revenues for 2020 and 2019 for transit. And somehow they are not able to provide me that information. We cannot continue to do business behind closed doors. Everything seems to be happening in the shadow of democracy, but yet we're told everything is fantastic. On May 6th at City Council, I asked the mayor a direct question. I told him of the email. I told him of my pleasure in receiving that type of detail. I acknowledged that we have not received it since April 30th, and I asked him if he would direct the CAO as the de facto CEO of the city and or the public service to ensure that all elected officials will receive the same information. I'm going to play it for you, and I'm going to play the mayor's response. I want you to listen for one thing. During the question that I presented, I did mention that I will probably hear I should take it up with the CAO, or I should speak with the Director of Communications. It's not in his realm, and so on. I want you to listen to the response that I received.
I was very excited to see this communication, but alas, I have never received another one since. And I know that I will be told that this concern should be taken to the CAO or the Director of Communications, because people aren't aware of it, or aware of the item, something along that line. But the reality is that you have to go through a system, it takes 14 days, you have to go to a general inquiry email, enough. But the mayor is the de facto CEO of the operation. So my question through you, Madam Chair, is will the mayor direct his executive team to include all members of council on these daily media briefings beginning tomorrow?
Thank you, Councillor Klein. Mr. Mayor?
Madam Speaker, I would suggest that Councillor Klein may want to read the charter in terms of, my understanding is there's no chief executive officer, and his inquiry may want to be forwarded to corporate communications. I do want to take this opportunity to applaud the work of our corporate communications team and our public service. The response to COVID-19 has been professional and it has been responsive. I appreciate the fact that unlike any other time, certainly since I've been mayor, we have full council briefings every week for 2 hours, during which Councillor Klein is in attendance. I do appreciate that level of openness and transparency that's provided to all members of council. And so I would suggest that he may want to follow up directly with his request to corporate communications.
Okay, here's what I said again.
I know that I will be told that this concern should be taken to the CAO or the Director of Communications, because people aren't aware of it, or aware of the item, something along that line.
Here's the response.
I would suggest that he may want to follow up directly with his request to corporate communications.
Listen, I don't want to make light of this whatsoever. Withholding information is not an effective way to run a leadership team. Members of council work for you, not one person. I took the time to follow the direction and I sent an email to the CAO and to the corporate communications officer, who replied to me with a very well-crafted email that did not answer my question whatsoever. And I replied back, and I replied back, and then I replied back asking where they have the authority in the Winnipeg Charter to not provide us with information, us being elected officials. They did not reply back. And then I asked the clerks, who has the authority, or does the CAO have the authority to make such a decision? No. Response back was no. But if I wanted to change it, I have to move a motion. Well, I've moved about 12 motions requesting more information and quicker response times, all of which have been denied by the mayor and EPC +2. So I then followed up with another email, and I said, could you just tell me if the mayor and EPC, because the mayor often says, I can't just tell them what to do. I don't have any power over that. That's not my responsibility. Does the mayor and EPC actually have the authority to direct the public service to comply with such a request? They do. So who's withholding information and not taking responsibility for their actions? I am more than willing to collaborate with the mayor and EPC, but it can't be a one-way street. I will not be bullied into doing something just because that's the way it has always been. I came here and promised the residents of Charleswood, Tuxedo, and Westwood not to do the same thing that's always been done.